At Pro Tour Los Angeles, Saturday's Commoner Goldfoil event drew 43 players, a huge number given that the Calling and the Pro Tour were both happening at the same time. And through 6 rounds of Swiss, one player remained undefeated and then went on to win that event. So today, Mark Lewis joins us to discuss his winning run, cover his Iyslander list, and share with us his story and his takes. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks. Welcome back to another episode of Dice Commando here on the channel. So today we are joined by Mark Lewis, who topped and quite frankly dominated the Commoner Goldfoil event at Pro Tour Los Angeles. So how are we doing, my friend?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing all right. Good Saturday here, and I've got an armory tonight, so I got to get prepped for that. But tell us about yourself. What's your Fab journey? What's your background?
Oh man, I started Fab right before Outsiders, so just like a month before Outsiders came out. I had a buddy that been trying to get me into Fab forever. I played Magic the Gathering since I was in high school, and he came over to Fab when it started, and day one he's like, dude, you gotta check out this new game. I was like, man, I know. I was kind of like the classic, yeah, I've seen those card games come and go. It's not gonna last very long, maybe fun, but you got Magic, you got your big three. It's not gonna, I don't want to do just for the fad of the week. And after a couple years, Magic the Gathering kind of was dying to me. I didn't like some of the ways they went around with their collector's packs. Just a lot of that stuff that you probably heard if you're in the card game world, where what Hasbro and Magic was doing, and finally just left a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, I'm leaving. Hey Gary, I'll come over and let's try this Flesh and Blood thing. Do a couple things with you. I played it a little bit when I first started Flesh and Blood. Sideways, I thought arcane damage was the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I remember playing a game with him. It was Kano. I was playing against a Kano, and I'm like your classic. I'm still running the Blitz decks of like, oh, here back and forth. I was learning like, oh, here's Prism. These things are 7. This is cool, And he plays a Kano deck. He's like, take 4. I'm like, well, I block it. No, it's arcane damage. What? It just was the funniest thing ever. I remember that. But I, of course, jumped right in, loved it. I like the minuscule decisions Fab gives you that matter. Unlike a lot of other card games where the variance is what will determine games, there's many times in Fab that I have been like, oh, there was a decision whether I pitched 3 and came in for 7, or maybe I didn't pitch 3 and came in for 4 and arsenaled my red and had an arsenal that was like the game. So I do like the minuscule decisions that matter. There's still so much stuff. I'm awful at pitch stacking still. I wish I was as good as some of the people that can like, oh yeah, I know every card in my deck now. I don't have that memory. So, but it's definitely been fun. I like the always learning aspect of Fab, whereas in Magic and a lot of other card games, I would say there's not a high ceiling of learning. I mean, there is always a high ceiling, but there was because of the variance, it was always kind of limited.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Now, you mentioned that you were an Iyslander player for a while. What was that? That was your main hero for a while?
Yeah. They knew I was when I came. That was my hero from day one after coming into actual Fab. After going through the initial Blitz and trying to make my first deck was Iyslander, because I was a control player in Magic, and I was like, man, there's no counter spells or anything like that. And they're like, oh, here's this hero where you can mess with your opponent. I was like, I like that. So I went over at day one to play it.
Okay, and then what are you playing right now? Obviously, with Iyslander gone.
Oh, that's a sore topic. I've been on a island looking for it. So I played Axed Dory. We have a competition down here called AGE. It happens every month. It's called the AGE Open. It's actually pretty big. We get like 70 people from all over every month. It's really cool. It actually really is nice if you ever want. Really a blessing for us down here for competitive events is that we have like this once a month just people that are so good. We've got like Chris Ayali, like some of the best in the world come to this every month. So it's like we get to experience every month a deck. Or competitive play at the top. But I ran Dash Dory for 2 months there. Or not, sorry, Dominator Axe Dory.
Oh, Desi Axe. Okay, good.
Yeah, Desi Axe Dory. I started a little hungover. So, but Desi Axe Dory, I like the deck. I don't like going to 50 minutes games every single round and trying to do math for 8-9 hours straight. I think it's strong, but never liked it. I then went to Dash IO, which I love that hero.
That's a cool hero.
I wish it was good. It is the decision trees in that is the most fun hero to me I've played. I actually told someone I liked it more than Iyslander. And like, what? I'm like, yeah, I love this hero. It's just there's something missing in that deck. You can't beat Guardians. You can't. The reason there's too much variance. It's a very good deck though. I really hope they put some expansion slot cards to make that deck actually good. But I am now on between two decks that I'm looking for a deck to go to nationals. I know there's a little ways between now and then. I'm between Victor, which I really love. I think he's strong. I don't know how to explain it. The ceiling for him is not high. That makes sense. You have what you have. Like I'm going to block. I've got a block card. I'm going to block 7. I'm going to swing at you for a bunch of damage. What do you got? If they can deal with it, there's not really many ways to break the game open.
Yeah. And that's where you and I met. You were on Victor and Blitz.
Yeah. That was
the end of Saturday.
Yeah. I love the deck. I think the deck is sweet. Like, see, I can do 3 for 11s. So, but I'm thinking actually the deck I might take to nationals is Slappy Dash. And I've got a list because there's a couple cards I think that are very underrated that make it's the Slappy Dash's Pistol Dash that just goes. You try to eventually get value with your pistols. I think that deck is really good.
All right, so let's take it to the Commoner Goldfoil event on Saturday morning of Pro Tour at 10 o'clock. So you were running Iyslander, and you went 6-0. So it was 6 rounds of Swiss with 43 players. You went 6-0. And then obviously on the top cut, if you lose, you're out, and you won it. So you went undefeated across the 9 rounds of that event. Walk us through that.
So we've been talking about we've been looking forward to this Commoner event for a while. Actually, we were most excited for the Blitz trios. Actually, was the main thing we were looking forward to because I love that trio event, but. We were talking about a deck, what decks we were going to bring, and Gary is like, okay, we're going to come play Commoner because that's in the morning, then we go to Blitz Trios later. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know Commoner that well. I know Ira's good. I know this, and we were talking like, what decks do we bring? He saw on Bravo, and he's like, Iyslander's legal in the format. I was like, say no more. Taking that hero. I get to play this girl again. So we did a bunch of testing on Commoner a year ago. I think there was a Commoner event in Vegas. There was a big Commoner event. I can't remember what it was we were testing for him. And I remember going back and forth on Iyslander's lists with him, trying to figure out the best one. And so we settled on a deck list after much testing, and people still say I'm wrong on some of the choices of that list. But we spent like a weeks bouncing in between snapbacks or no snapbacks.
Mm-hmm.
It was the hardest choice to decide between that. And then there was other choices. We finally figured out the list, and we took it. I took it made a decision the night before, which ended up being very good. And then took it in. So I think round one, did I play you? I played a Bravo. Can't remember if it was you or not. I think it was. I haven't looked at the pairings, but I played a Bravo round one. And I felt good. And it's always bad when you sit down on your round one, or I wouldn't say bad, but it's always interesting when you sit down on your round one, and usually it's like, oh, this is a bad hero. Oh, this is a good hero. Like you get the whatever your matchup rates, people will kind of talk, especially Commoner. It's not super competitive, so you're not trying to hide information really much. And we sit down like, oh, sweet. Talking to the guy, I'm like, it's a Bravo. Yeah, I feel good. He's like, oh, sweet. It's an Iyslander. I feel good. I'm like, oh, God, what's going on? So we had a good match. I ended up, I went first, I think. And I just had a really good, the theme of the day was my starts, which felt so good because I went Polar Blast into arsenaling something. So it's like they start with a Frostbite on turn one and then just kept racing them down. And then, I faced a bunch of, the field was so flush with Iras there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I think
But that's a good matchup for you, right?
It's a good, I don't know. I don't like the matchup. If some of the Iras, I think the matchup's different for Ira, the way they play, and that if they don't have experience on it, they don't know what to do really to disrupt me, because the Iras usually are just trying to rush you. And in the Iras, that the way they were presenting damage, I was like, man, with these cards, you didn't have to do that. You could have just gone 1, 2, 4, and I'm effed. Because little known fact, Iyslander wants you to attack with like one big attack that I can block with like a defensive reaction, something like that. If you spread out your damage as 1, 2, 3s, and you can do it efficiently and just pass, and then even if in my arsenal I'm trying to present 5 and you prevent 3 of it, you've now gone up +4 on damage. So I'm never going to block 1, 2. I might block the 4, depending on if it's an unhit, but it's when you're presenting things, sometimes it's really hard. You want to make me make decisions, not me make you decisions on what to play.
That's very interesting. So you actually see that as a not favorable matchup?
Yeah, I put it 50-50. The whole thing is that if they can get their start going, I would. My whole goal, I kind of set you a little primer. My whole goal with Ira is I need to get you to 8 as quick as possible. 8 specifically because I need to get you into the point where a 3 damage puts you into a lethal amount of damage. Because that's when they start sitting there and they'll prevent my Arcane. They won't take the 1 or 2s. They'll take at anything above that life. It seems like people will be like, okay, well, I'm at 10. If I take 2, I go to 8, I'll be fine. But if they can present 14 over, like, say they have an arsenal over, they pitched a blue on their turn, now they have like 14 damage over 4 cards, I'm good at taking a lot. And I don't want to be in the point where I'm taking lethal trying to do my last 3 points of damage against the Ira, and they have 2 blues in hand. It's going to be really, especially Commoner Iyslander. And they present so. I had one Ira go like Kadachi into a 4 go again, get the next +1 into like a soul beat strike for 5, into a press the point or whatever they did that gives it more damage. I can't remember what it was. I was like, geez, that was like a 4-card 16 or something like that. How am I supposed to stop that? And I started 18 life. So I like I said, the match 50-50. The thing is, the key card for there, that this is one of the things we changed in the last iteration, is red Arctic Incarceration. It's so good against your aggro decks. Can completely, the way that match turns is I need them to have a blank turn. Is how it ends up being, because it's a race, like, because it's a full aggro race. I need them to blank a turn where I can get them lower than the damage they presented to me. Because if we're just going back and forth, my turn 0, usually not doing much. They'll AB at the 1, so now we're not. There's still 1 health up on me. Goes to their turn. They're going to present damage that I have to block, and I need to. I remember specifically. I did like a 5 damage on my turn on turn 0 going first. We're even with the Ira. The Ira presented Kadachi. I think I blocked the second Kadachi, but I took the first one, so now I'm down 1. He presents a 4 damage on hit with 2 cards in hand. This is his turn 1. And I was like thinking about blocking 2. This is turn 1. I was thinking about blocking with 2 cards. Like, I take this on hit, and then I've got my arsenal. That I was thinking, I can't race this. I have a wounded bull in hand. I need to block my equipment now and just keep the gas on. So I blocked with equipment and 1 card from hand, and I was like, I'm taking whatever it is after this, because he's going to want to arsenal, and most likely the next card is he has no resources. So if he doesn't arsenal, 4 is the max that I'm going to be getting hit by, I think. And that will put me at 15, I think, because I've taken 1 from Kadachi. It'll put me at, it'll put me at something else, but I'm just going to dump everything. I need to get him. Oh, sorry, I see my camera's freaking out. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. But the thing was, like, if I do this, I'm just racing, because now I will have no equipment. My turn 1. I've used everything in the first turn pretty much. But it got him down to where I wounded Bolt for 10, and he decided, I had 2 people do, 1 person take it all, go to 5, which I was like, oh, sweet, this is exactly what I want. You're at 5 now. What do you want to do against Iyslander? Then 1 person block all 9 of it, taking 1. We were like, he was still like a 4 life lead, but he had no turn at me. And now I get to play my game of, I'm going to play something from Arsenal. You're going to have a 1 card hand. You're not going to do, I'll block 1, take 1. You're going to take 5 or something off that Arcane. That's where I want to be an Ira. I never want them to have that full turn 1 hand where they're presenting 17, because what am I going to do? Even without equipment, I can block 7 of your 14 or whatever it is, and then come back for 8 with a wounded bull at my best turn, and then I don't have an arsenal, because with Iyslander, if he blocked with 2 cards and used your arsenal on their turn, you'll never. If you're going 2 for 2, like I used to block and then swing 2, I will never have an arsenal to do things on your turn.
Right.
So that's just how it ends up being. Sorry, I talked way too long about that.
Okay. No worries. So let's go ahead and jump into your list, because you touched on one of the big questions, which was the no snapback. Right. Obviously, that's been discussed around. So you sound very certain that, I mean, to be clear, and I don't know if you saw my Wednesday video, but I was like, hey, scoreboard, the guy won, right? So whether or not you think it was the right include, he won. So can you walk us through that testing, and then shout out to Gary Grind as well. You said he was your partner in testing here. So how did you all land on no snapback?
Well, snapback is really good. I wouldn't say land that I think it's the right choice. I still love snapback. The reason no snapback's really good in your combo turn. So the snapback is a spell that says if I played a wizard spell, which is important, wizard spell, or wizard action spell, but I can play this as an instant for 1, and it's 3 damage to your opponent. It's really good in Iyslander for on their turn. The combo is, the dream is, I pitch a blue for Ice Bolt. Here's 3. Snap back with that 1 extra 3. Pitch another blue. Take 3. So I'm not the 9 Arcane on their turn. Mm-hmm. It's very sweet. The problem is, Alluvian Castellus, or sorry, not Alluvian Castellus. Waning Moon does 3 damage, and it costs 2. So right there, you have snapback is equal to, you got your resource there. Most of the lines where you want to snap back requires you to pitch 2 cards and use a card, which you'll never arsenal after using that, because you can't. Key thing on Iyslander, one of your most efficient turns is there's 2 cards. You run 2 copies of each. There's Polar Blast and Cold Snap, which are 1 mana ice spells that draw you a card, and you can get your Waning Mood on. Well, they're ice; they're not wizards. So your most efficient ways to get like your little chip damage in can't activate snapback. Neither can Winter's Bite. Neither can Arctic Incarceration. There's actually quite a few times when we were testing that I'd end up on a turn where it's like, okay, I'm at 6, you're at 6. Oh, I drew my snapback. I've got I've arsenaled. I've arsenaled Cold Snap. I love that card. It's good. But I've arsenaled Cold Snap. But it's like, oh shoot, man, I can Cold Snap and get the turn going. Oh great, snapback. That's a red, blue attack. It's like, well, I can't activate snapback. They're coming from a lot. I have to block with snap black. I have to block with this. I'm left with awkward. It left really awkward hands, and the combo never. It was too variant on the combo in the cards. A lot of the cards you want to arsenal. I see. It's also mana intensive. Like I said, when you're wanting to go back and forth, it doesn't play well with the. I want to pitch 1 blue, play a spell, and go there, and go 3, and so that leaves it to only being good in your final turns, pretty much. Only being good for the kill, which is fine. But that's it was very hard to know when, or it's hard when there's 2 cards that require setup. To have a wizard spell in the arsenal, because if you're going for the kill, you're never doing it on your turn, unless it's snapback never works as a good kill on your turn kind of deal. Maybe setting up for a kill on your turn, but still, that didn't feel that good. So what we did is the slot that took snapback was. It was the Arctic Incarceration red, which I think is, if you're not running that in Iyslander, you're completely wrong, because that card is so good against some matchups. That is what makes the Ira matchup actually doable. It's also good against Dash, but it's not good against some decks, which is why I think some people don't like it as much, because it's not good against your Bravos. It's not good against your Dories. It's not good against your Warriors. Anything that has like a big blue count and can go, oh, pitch a blue, come in with a weapon. Not very good against them because they're still presenting damage that you have to block, and your Arctic Incarceration did shit. So
yeah, but you have sideboard slots, so yeah.
Yeah, I've got 4 sideboard slots, which go. I technically only have like 2 sideboard slots because I put my D-Reacts in the sideboard. And they kind of come in for Arctic Incarceration, and I have 2 spots dedicated specifically for Dash and Ira. That matchup's really bad sometimes if you don't have it.
I see.
The blue, what was it? The Brain Freeze. Brain Freeze really good against Dash, really good against Ira. It's minus. I take 4 less damage.
Yeah. Right, so Polar Cap you have in here. That's and that's just the red version.
Yeah, just the red.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was agreeing with you. Yeah, Polar Cap is really good. 4 damage, Frostbite. Yeah, you're usually only running against AB3, and anything I can give them Frostbites on their turn can prevent damage.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. The it being a 2 though is a little awkward with trying to get Moon behind it. So that's really just a single spell disruption you're just trying to do there.
Yeah. It's really the 2s are hard because that's another thing is you're not running Fendal's Spring Tunic like the CC version. So your 2s, it's really hard to go pitch a blue and Waiting Moon. Mm-hmm. But the thing with Polar Cap is I usually save it for because you have to Ice Fuse, so you have to have a card in hand to get the Frostbite. It would be pitch a blue. I want unblockable damage in quotations with 1 damage coming over because everyone's only running AB3. And if you want to Oasis it, that's fine with me. But I'm going to give you a Frostbite. I want to arsenal a card. So I'm not necessarily caring about the Waiting Moon for an extra damage. It's more of a getting parity to slow your turn because you'll pitch a blue, and then going on your turn, you have to pay 1 more extra for your attack, and you've already pitched a blue, so maybe you'll pitch another blue, and you'll come in with 1 attack. And if I've arsenaled, say, an ice card, I can then, on a go again person, I can give you another Frostbite, do some damage, and you usually won't have enough resources to do anything. Or if it's like a Polar Cap or something like that, I can do some weird things to my equipment to try to get match parity.
Okay. So I think next question I have for you was this event was the kind of the official rollout, so to speak, of the Decimator Olympias or Decimator Dories, as it may be. Did you run up against any of those? How did that match go? And what are your thoughts on that matchup?
I love that deck. I told you I played Decimator Dory and CC. I think that deck is sweet. Against Iyslander, I haven't had much testing on it in Commoner, honestly. In CC, Wizard matchups are rough for Decimator Dory, but you just don't present. You're presenting. Here's my damage. I do good things against block cards, and I block really well against non-arcade stuff. So I haven't done enough testing there, but I liked the Decimator Olympia list. I don't know. Have you been messing with it? Some people are saying you were running your list or something for Decimator Olympia.
So I was not. I was on Bravo, but my team up here came in very, very heavy with Decimator Olympia. I think there was 6 or 7 of them, all on a similar list. So
they were all so cool. I loved your team, by the way. Shout out to all of them. I played against one of them that was on a Decimator Dory list, and it was sweet. I can't remember because we were talking a little bit about cards because I was super excited about it because I was like, yeah, I love Decimator Axe. When this thing got spoiled, I was like, this is the best ever. Goodbye, Guardians, Warriors, right on. But do you guys run Brandish in your list? Red Brandish?
I don't know if they ended up on that in their final lists. I do run it in my Dorinthea Pump and Thump, or my Dorinthea Front Pump deck, mainly because of the Dromai, right? You
Yeah,
need another way to get Ashwing. So I agree with you. I think Brandish is a smart include
because
for that.
I run that list as just sheer math.
Mm-hmm.
So Brandish is just a pseudo 1 for 4. And also it presents some weird blocking things. I thought there's a couple times, there's one in him where I think the Dory list, I think I went down to like 2, where it was like, oh, if you've got the double or triple blue hand, I'm dead, but let's see if you got it. But it was sweet because it presents so much weird blocking that I still, as a going against it, I don't know if it's right to bring in D-Reacts. I don't know if it's wrong. It's just, it makes everything so awkward with blocking math.
Right. Yeah, I know that I'm sure that the Decimator Dorinthea plays a little different because you do have second swing on board potentially, right? But the Olympia deck, they make good work of either critical strike or of push the point for their go again, right? Because you're like, oh, I'll bleed 1 on Decimator, and then all of a sudden you're looking at a 1 for 6 push the point, and you're like, oh no, like I didn't see that coming, right? So
yeah, no, that's sweet. I would probably run it more fatiguey and be running like just tons of blues and good blocks. I don't know how fatigue works in. Oh yeah, I do know how fatigue works in Commoner. I think it should be banned. I hate that deck. I think
you're talking Oldham.
Yeah, that deck needs to leave the format. And I'm not just saying that for as like an Iyslander player. It's so unfun to play against. I got beat by an Oldham that wasn't even running a weapon.
Wasn't even running a weapon. Was running shield and Arcane.
Yeah, just trolling me. Yeah, he was just trolling me. Yeah, it's just like, this is bull crap. Like, who wants to play this? I like fatigue.
That's actually interesting. I mean, so it's kind of funny you say that. I actually made a post on the Twitters last night about like fatigue should be banned in Commoner, or not banned, but like fatigue should not be a thing in Commoner. Change my mind, and then you're bringing this up now. That's kind of funny.
I like fatigue. I like the fatigue in your like Olympia. Like if I would personally was running Olympia, I'd be running a certain amount of D-Reacts and good defensive stuff where I could efficiently pitch a blue, block some stuff out, and then come at you for set. And then I'm just it's not like I'm not doing anything, but it's like I'm presenting a Decimator Axe that's making your stuff worth less and damage and I'm fine blocking and just keeping it blue and pitching. That's the kind of fatigue I like, because that's little options. The Oldham fatigue's just like, hey, I've got cards. I've got this ability that blocks 2 or puts them on top. We're just gonna, steadfast. Yep. Here's block 6. Yep. Well, you can't present. Oh wait, this is Commoner. You can't present a 25 damage turn. Joke's on you. Yeah. It's just so bad.
Yeah. Luckily, Oldham is not. I mean, 1 did make the top 8 in PTLA, but we had a very different meta down there, I think, than we had expected. So
I don't know how I beat that Oldham. That's a matchup. I don't know how I beat that guy.
He had AB5.
He had AB3, which I think is, I don't understand. Like, if it was running AB4, I don't win that match.
Right.
It doesn't even matter what a 2-year-old could be piling in. Not saying he's a bad player, but it's just like,
yeah.
Oh, you're coming in? I'll pitch whatever I've got. I'll pitch whatever I've got. I'm just never going to win.
Yeah, interesting. All right, well, as we move to wrap this up, any thoughts or any shout outs you want to give?
I think Decimator Olympia is probably going to be if there was another Commoner event, I would take that. I love that deck. I think it's really good. I didn't want to say the best, the whole snapback versus Aether thing. The main reason we ran it is because the best way to get back in a game, and this is actually the hardest part about one of the things we were talking about between snapback is Mage Master boots and pitching a blue into a 5 damage spell into red Arctic Incarceration will get you back into any match at all. Like that's the one thing about Commoner I noticed is there's very little comeback mechanic. In the fact that like if you start falling behind, there's less. If you're not running pummel, there's less things that can get you back to parity. So it's like the stuff you can do if you have a deck, or if you're trying to construct a deck in Commoner, you want to see, hey, what is my best 5-card hand or 4-card hand that I can take damage that will like break open the game. And that's kind of the things you gotta find. That's what I found with Iyslander is like my best hand to break open the game was pitch a blue. It's not even a waiting move. It's pitch a blue, present 5. Because if they have a blue, they're usually going to block it. You're going to pitch a blue to block it. And then, let's hope you have another blue in hand or you're doing nothing and breaking your Mage Masters. And then just drop your Arctic Incarceration. And you get to start with a 4-card hand. You've just reset the game. So
Interesting.
It's the best thing you could do. But what's your next event you're going to?
Likely there's a battle hardened up in Tacoma, which is about 2 and change north of Portland where I live. So we'll be at that one, and then there's a calling in Portland in November, which hopefully you'll come up for.
Oh, I probably will. I might go to that Tacoma one. I've got a bunch of family there.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Don't get robbed.
Yeah, Tacoma's not, it's not the greatest place, but hey, we all lived through LA too. So although the LA where the place was awesome, right? I mean,
oh yeah, that LA Live place is super. They keep that place super safe and super nice for people. But yeah, all right, sounds good to me.
Yeah, man. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us and sharing your list. I did want to give another shout out to Gary, your testing partner, Gary Grine. And did you have any other shout outs you wanted to give?
I'll give Hidden Fortress, the place I play. It's on my hat.
Oh, okay.
If you're ever down in Simi Valley, LA area, they are one of the nicest shops for. We're all very new people friendly, new player friendly. Very, very good shop. We're kind of all about we play a lot of sealed and limited, unlike a lot of shops. I know a lot of shops don't like they usually go classic constructed down here, but we try to get more of new players in, because that's what we're all about, is trying to make the game, to expand the game, get people in that want to play it. That's how this game starts lasting. It's such a good. We don't need to worry about the quality of game. We already know it's a very, very high quality game. We just gotta get, hey buddy, you want to play the game? Yeah, come on. Oh, you got nothing to do? Come on in. So let's play. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, awesome. So Hidden Fortress, I'll make sure to in the editing, I'll put up the logo and the location. We'll go check that out as well.
Great. What's the shop you guys have up there? I've recently been browsing your stuff, and I watched you had like a battle or an armory thing last night when I was driving home. I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah,
not while I was driving, of course.
The store, I don't own it or anything, but I run the program, the Fab program at Gongai Games up here. But we're very fortunate in the Portland area. We have several large stores in the area that support the game very aggressively. We have a pretty awesome community up here in Portland, so we're very lucky.
That's cool. I'll have to, when that Battle Hardened in Portland comes up, we'll talk about maybe taking a trip there. You're not too far.
Yep. There is an excellent chance, like 95% chance, that I'll be running some sort of higher level commoner event on the Thursday before the calling.
Make the pricing
for folks who make it in.
Yeah, just as long as you don't prize the top 8 like that. That would be great.
Oh yeah, the pricing was awful. No, it'll be, I mean, I'm not super big on top heavy competitive, so we'll do some sort of, it'll be more of a community type event. It's not going to be like $5,000 cash prize, because then, it's a different tone, right? So.
Well, I don't understand why I'm fine with the top 8, like, first place getting a gold foil. That's a big thing, but it's like spread out everything. I'm not saying that just because I want it, but it's saying it's like, you got something you're going for, and then make everything at least get something. Because I like my buddy Gary that we've been shouting out. He got 10th. I felt bad because I knocked him out of contention, but it was like he got nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it was the only event all weekend that didn't do entry tickets or didn't do tickets per win, right? And there's really no. I mean, I could bitch about this for a half hour. It is what it is. I've said my piece. It was just a really, everyone knew going in it was going to be a top heavy event, and that was the goal. But it doesn't mean that people should leave with nothing, is my opinion. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you, if you could redo the event, what would you bring? Same deck or?
Yeah, I like my Bravo deck. Stuff happened and that's all right. I ended up dropping 2-2. I would have played the whole event if there was wins per tickets. I'd have kept playing, right? But
how do you deal with Decimator?
So I have multiple ways to strip cards, and I basically race.
Okay.
It's kind of the only option, right? Because I have Concuss and Thump, which if you hit, they have to discard. And then Pummel, obviously.
Yeah, you got that. I guess that makes sense because I've always had we've been trying out a bunch of stuff, and that Decimator list we're liking a lot because it's like even when you disrupt them, they're still on a lot of their turns. It's like, okay, you've disrupted me. I'm still presenting 7 pseudo 8 because one of your card -1. It's just like, oh, well, great.
Yeah, no, I mean it's very solid. There's an argument that it, maybe shouldn't have been a rare in terms of like how it works with commoner, but it is what it is, and it opens up a lot of awesome doors. So
in Classic Constructed, that's why I went to Decimator over Bravo. I was gonna, because that's when Iyslander ran out of the format. I was looking at the decks, and from my thought point of view, or from my things, Bravo had a better 2-card hand because you could pitch 2 to Anathos and just a vacuum. Whereas Decimator has a better 1-card hand. So because I can pitch 3 and Anathos only comes in for 4, Decimator comes in for pseudo 5 because you're -1 with D-Reacts gets even better. But that was the whole thing. So that's why I went into Fatigue Door because I was like, fuck, man, if that's going to be the case, then bring it. I'll just put more defensive cards and just always pitch 3. And with the commoner of like always having the 7s, it ends up being really sweet. So I don't know. I think that might, if there's going to be a ban in, that might actually have to be the ban. It's Decimator X.
If there's going to be a ban in commoner?
Yeah, I think Decimator X might be the thing they're going to have to ban because it's too efficient, like number-wise.
Yeah, we'll see how it develops. I actually had a chance to talk with James while we were down there, and he asked me what I thought about the commoner format because we cover it a lot. And I think they like it to be it is a very approachable format from a new player because basically everything's legal, right? With a handful of exceptions, it's just kind of an open sandbox. And I think there's an argument for that. There's also an argument that with Ira, the Kodachis are just too good, which I think is valid.
Behind that, I just the thing with commoners, it's very delicate, and it's cool to invade. I mean, Decimator X isn't a common. That's kind of where I sit behind that. Is not really balanced into the common form.
Right. Yeah. I could see a day, many years down the road where they do walk back the rares allowed. I can see that.
I like commoner because it's got so much room to expand. Because there really isn't that much. There isn't that much of a card pool. I didn't realize how limited commons, or when you started looking at just commons, how limited the pool became for some stuff. Because I'm so used to CC where it's like, oh man, everything.
Right. Yeah, it's harder on the talented heroes, right? Because they don't have that. It's even more narrow for them, but. Well, many years down the road, once we've gotten, Uprising 2.0 and whatever 2.0, it'll be different. And we'll see where we land. So
I better stop talking. Like I said, you get me talking about Fab, I can talk for hours and hours and hours.
No worries. I love this. I love this like speculative chat type stuff. But yeah, to your point, we'll get you back to your Saturday. I got to go mow the lawn while it's still sunny and all that stuff. So.
Shit, I gotta get that done. My wife's got a bunch of honey-do lists, so I gotta get stuff done too.
All right, Mark. Well, thank you again for joining, and then say it with me. Go Commando.
Go Commando.
All right.